This is Mitrovica, a town in northern Kosovo famous for its mines, and yet since the war perhaps more famous for division and conflict. But is that really the story today? I'm taking a tour of Mitrovica with a native of the city, Bekim.
Welcome to Mitrovica!
In Kosovo and the wider Balkan region, the town of Mitrovica has one massive claim to fame, most of which is underground. The Trepca mine.
So here we are in the Trepca mine in Stanturg, which is a few kilometers from Mitrovica, the city of Mitrovica. And it is the biggest mine in Kosovo. The first miners, they were since 1303, and then in 1924 the British geologists came here. They studied the complex and the mine for a few years, and in 1930 the Trepca started to work professionally. So in Trepca mine there is 4 minerals which are the most important. Zinc, is a lead, is a silver, even gold.
Welcome to Museum State Trepca and Crystalline Mineral.
I've been to crystal museums back in Britain when the crystals are this size. Still very beautiful, but nothing like the size of these monsters.
My grandfather was a miner in Trepca. In the 70s and 80s, in Trepca mine used to work about 20 to 24,000. But unfortunately nowadays there are a couple of thousand people that work here.
There's a famous expression about the Trepca mine that everybody in Kosovo knows.
Trepca prodhon Belgrade ndërton. Trepca produce, Belgrade builds.
The expression dates back to the times of Yugoslavia, and the meaning was like mines around the world, the money didn't stay here. In this case, the money went to Belgrade. Mitrovica has always been divided geographically by the river Ibri. Before the war, the different ethnic communities here lived side by side. North of the river, south of the river, it made no difference. Things have changed though since the Kosovo War. Now, northern Mitrovica is predominantly Serb. The south side of the city is Albanian. And the new bridge, built with money from the French government, is symbolically still blocked to traffic. There have been a number of incidents since the war as a result of the political and ethnic division and the fact that much of the Serbian population here finds it very difficult to acknowledge a new Kosovan nation. In many parts of Kosovo, the international forces have long since gone. But here, there are Italian carabinieri guarding the entrance to the bridge and driving around the city, providing added security. I can already see across the bridge Serbian flags to leave you in no doubt as to the allegiance of that part of the city. There is immediately a very different feel here, and it's not just the flags. It does feel like there's a cultural divide, one side of the river to the other. A divide which perhaps needs a lot more time to heal. As far as sights are concerned in the north, there's one statue that dominates everything, and that's the statue to Prince Lazar, the Serbian prince who fought gallantly but lost his life in 1389 in the famous Battle of Kosovo Field, or the Field of Blackbirds. As well as lots of Serbian flags, there are also plenty of Russian flags. And at a time when the Ukrainian conflict is still all over the news, of course, that is a particularly controversial message. In Mitrovica, just as in almost any Albanian or Kosovan city, you'll find a statue of Mother Teresa.
So we are in the city center of Mitrovica, the main square. It's called Isa Bulletini, after the national hero of Albanians, Isa Bulletini, who fought also for independence of Albania. of when they declared in 1912.
So, Bekim, this is your cousin's restaurant, yeah?
Yes, and when I was born in 1983, I lived here 2 years, and this is my uncle's house. And until a few years ago, I used to spend every summer here. So I stayed like half of my life in Pristina, half of my life in Mitrovica.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So let's go inside and enjoy the meal.
That's so good. Wow, just look at these cakes. We're now going to have a rapid tour of Mitrovica Museum.
So, Museum of Mitrovica is the second oldest museum in Kosovo and the second richest museum in Kosovo when it comes to collection and cultural heritage. Why is this museum special? Is because of the history of Mitrovica. Mitrovica has mostly two identities. One is connecting to mining work that started millenniums ago, and it has to do also with the division of the city. And the second identity is because of this mining work, it gave a chance to have different communities living in the city, so we have cultural diversity. So all of these two identities dance with one another through different stories, through different collections, different artifacts, to make this museum a bit more specific when it comes to museology in Kosovo.
So this is your neighbourhood in Mitrovica?
This is the neighborhood called Bayer in Mitrovica, and these are like images just immediately after the war of 98-99. So this is summer, July 1999, and actually it was like the entire neighborhood was destroyed. And we're talking about the destruction of the south part of the city, where we know that around 8,000 houses were burned from Albanian community, and this includes also a lot of like religious objects, schools, libraries, and so on. So we actually curated this exhibition as the 14th annual of independence of Kosovo. It's very important to reflect that we've gone a long way and a lot of responsibility is waiting for us to go even further. So part of our exhibition we have different authors, different photographers, and the most important part is this photo album of 32 photos that was done by a child in 1999. So his name is Mustafa Meholi, and he was 15 years old. So he was given a photo camera from an NGO called War Child, and they actually just encouraged him to take photos, and what he did, he actually did like some ethnographic work, seeing what was going on in Mitrovica just immediately after the war, and you can see like people restarting their life. So there is like a lot of damaged house and the restart of rebuildings, like KFOR helping like houses clean after they are destroyed and burned. And there are different images. For example, I used to live in exact same conditions. Like it was like our house was burned and my family did not want to leave the house, and their neighbor of ours said we have a room that is actually saved from a burned house, and like all the hall and everything was like black, and we just had a room inside, and we lived like this for 1 year. But everybody came back, you know, that was so important. Like you see kids on trunks because the house was destroyed. So it's like an amazing piece of history that he done with a very early age, like the age of 15.
Reminds me the time of after the war in it was July or August in 1999. So in Mitrovica, in my uncle's house, so 3 houses were burned and 4 shops. So I can see myself in this picture because I was also the one, even though I was 15 years old, helping my uncles cleaning the house, and also even though it was sad and a lot of damages were done by Serbian forces, we had hope and we were happy.
Do you remember this image?
Yes.
This is like the pedestrian street, and it was all filled with cafes and a lot of people dancing. Like people were dancing, like in the middle of the street.
The shops were all burnt and destroyed.
Yeah, everything was sold on the street, you know, and it was just like an open cafe.
The city of Mitrovica has a proud history. It was known for its art and its culture, music, but then sadly it became known for conflict. Now there's no doubt that that division is still there. The wounds of war are going to take a long time to heal. But for people like Nora, there's a mission to put Mitrovica back where it belongs. And the young people in Mitrovica, they surely want to get there too. I really hope that when I return in a few years' time, I won't be calling this city a divided city, but perhaps Kosovo's city of culture. But that's all I've got time for. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next journey.